Listen to me very closely. He's got so much potential is just polite society's translation for he's a talented underachiever currently rotting on a premium mattress. The graveyard of unrealized promise is standing room only, and your participation trophy won't even buy you a stale bagel at the afterlife buffet. Nobody cares what you could do. The universe doesn't take I owe us, and reality doesn't accept I'm working on it as a valid currency. You are exactly what you have executed. Nothing more, nothing less. So put down the controller, wipe the snack dust off your chest, and let's dismantle the comforting little fairy tale you've been telling yourself. Chapter 1. Your someday is just a dress-up word for never. Welcome to the demolition zone. We are starting right here, right now, by blowing up the most dangerous word in the English language. That word is someday. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll finally record that podcast, write that book, or take control of my absolute dumpster fire of a life. Listen to me very closely. Someday is not a day of the week. You will not find it on any calendar ever printed. Someday is a mythical, make-believe island where grown men go to suck their thumbs and feel good about doing absolutely nothing. It is a dress-up word for never. You have a choice. You can continue living in this fairy tale, or you can wake up. That's the key. Let's talk about the illusion of preparation. I know exactly what you do. You decide it's finally time to get your life together. So what is your first move? Do you actually do the work? Absolutely not. You go to the office supply store. You buy 20 highlighters, color-coded by priority. You download 5 different productivity apps. You spend 40 hours building a customized, automated database just to track the daily habits you are entirely failing to do. You clean your desk until you could perform open-heart surgery on it. You call this getting ready. You call this strategizing. I call it cowardice. The brutal truth is that overplanning is just procrastination in a 3-piece suit. It looks professional. It smells like ambition. You can tell your friends about all the research you're doing, and they will nod and validate your imaginary hustle. But underneath that tailored fabric, you are actively hiding from the work. You are using preparation as a shield to protect your fragile ego from the possibility of failure. If you are always getting ready to do the thing, you never actually have to be judged on your ability to do the thing. Stop buying stationery. Stop watching 50 YouTube tutorials on how to lift weights before you have even touched a dumbbell. You don't need more information, you need an initiation. It's not about endless preparation, it's about immediate execution. Planning is just procrastination in a 3-piece suit. Memorize that. Write it in one of your 20 unused notebooks. Now let's address the next ridiculous excuse keeping you anchored to the sofa. The perfect timing trap. You are waiting for the stars to align. You are waiting for the economy to bounce back. You are waiting until you feel less stressed, until the kids are older, until Mercury is out of retrograde, or until a glowing eagle lands on your shoulder and hands you a personalized scroll of destiny. Newsflash. The stars are giant balls of burning gas millions of light years away, and they do not give a flying flapjack about your side hustle. They do not care about your schedule. The universe is entirely indifferent to your timing. If you wait for the right time to start a business, hit the gym, or build your life, you will be waiting until your teeth fall out into a cup of lukewarm pudding. There is never a perfect time to do something difficult. Life is chaotic, messy, and brutally uncooperative. The perfect time is an illusion sold to you by your own laziness. You have to operate in the chaos. You have to launch the project when you are tired. You have to go to the gym when it's raining and you have a headache. You don't need their permission. You don't need the universe's permission. You just need to step up and strike the match. Right now, you are walking around puffed up with pride because of all your grand intentions. You think you deserve respect because of what you could do. But here is a cold, hard dose of brutal reality. You can't deposit potential. Walk into a bank today. Go up to the teller. Slap your unwritten business plan and your vague aspirations on the counter. Look that teller dead in the eye and say, "I'd like to open a mortgage, please. I have massive potential. I'm waiting for the perfect time to unleash it." They won't give you a mortgage. They will call security. Society runs on results, not intentions. You can't deposit potential. It doesn't pay the rent. It doesn't feed your family. It doesn't build a legacy. It is absolutely worthless until it is converted into action. It's not about having a flawless launch. It's about generating relentless momentum. You have a choice. You can be the guy with a head full of dreams and a wallet full of dust, or you can be the man who acts. That's the key. This brings us to the most terrifying mathematics you will ever confront: the ledger of regret. You operate as if you have an infinite bank account of tomorrows. You spend hours doom scrolling through social media, watching other people live their lives, burning daylight as if you have an unlimited subscription to existence. You do not. Time is undefeated, and every single day you delay is a massive, unrecoverable withdrawal from your own future. Father Time is not a friendly old man with a beard. He is a ruthless repo man, and he is coming for your youth, your energy, and your opportunities. The calendar is a ruthless judge, and it is laughing at your creatively worded excuses. You think skipping the work today doesn't matter because you will catch up on Monday. Monday is a myth. There is only today. Look at the older men who never executed. You've seen them. They sit on bar stools or recliners, bitterly complaining about how the world didn't give them a fair shake. They talk about the business they almost started in 1998. They talk about the athlete they could have been if they hadn't tweaked their knee playing intramural dodgeball. That is your future if you do not evict the word someday from your vocabulary right this second. The clock doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care that you had a hard day at the office. It doesn't care that your boss yelled at you or that your favorite sports team lost. The clock just ticks. Tick, tick, tick. That is the sound of your life expiring. Stop negotiating with your own weakness. Stop acting like you have 500 years to figure this out. The ledger is out and the ink is drying. You have a choice. You can fill the pages with undeniable results, or you can fill them with pathetic, dressed-up nevers. From this moment forward, someday is dead. If an idea is worth doing, you take the first physical step today. Not tomorrow morning, not next week, today. You don't need their permission. You don't need a perfectly optimized spreadsheet. You just need to get your hands dirty. You mastered the truth about your timeline. Now let's talk about the delusions in your head. Chapter 2. Stop treating your ideas like they cure diseases. Let us have a deeply uncomfortable conversation about your massive, unearned, wildly inflated ego. Right now, you are walking around with a head full of brilliant concepts. You think you are a misunderstood visionary. You treat your random brain farts like they are the cure for a global pandemic, expecting the world to roll out a red carpet just because you had a mildly interesting thought while washing your armpits. Newsflash, you are not a genius. You are just a guy standing in lukewarm water, staring blindly at a bottle of dandruff shampoo. Let's talk about the absolute unforgiving math of execution. Everyone, and I mean literally everyone on planet Earth, has a $1 million app idea in the shower. The barista getting your coffee order wrong has a startup idea. The 12-year-old screaming into his headset on a video game has a revolutionary concept for a clothing brand. But what happens? The water shuts off, the towel comes out, and that $1 million idea goes straight down the drain of mediocrity. Ideas are mathematically worthless without the sweat equity to back them up. Multiply zero effort by $1 billion concept, and what is your net worth? Zero. You are holding a lottery ticket from 1998 and expecting someone to cash it today. I will tell you a brutal, humiliating truth. A perfectly executed hot dog stand is worth infinitely more than your unbuilt tech empire. The guy slinging overpriced mystery meat sausages on a freezing city corner is currently beating you in the game of life. Why? Because he bought the cart. He boiled the water. He is in the arena getting his hands dirty, while you are sitting in the bleachers in your pajamas, critiquing his mustard to ketchup ratio. It's not about possessing a genius intellect. It's about displaying relentless grit. You have to stop worshiping your own imagination. Ideas are cheap. Execution takes elbow grease. Memorize it. Tattoo it on the inside of your eyelids. You have a choice. You can be the philosopher of your own failure, or you can be the architect of your own reality. That's the key. Now let's diagnose the primary disease keeping you paralyzed, the dopamine fraud. You have a crippling addiction to premature applause. You get a flash of inspiration, and before you have purchased a domain name, built a prototype, or lifted a single, solitary, heavy object, what is your immediate reflex? You run straight to the internet. You announce your grind mode. You post a vague, moody photo of your steering wheel or a sunset with a caption about silent moves and building an empire. You absolute clown. What empire? You haven't even successfully built a Lego set without losing the instructions. You post a day one mirror selfie in your pristine, unsweated-in gym gear, looking like a heavily filtered mannequin. Listen to me and listen well. Posting a day one mirror selfie doesn't make you an athlete, it makes you a tourist. You are visiting the land of hard work, taking a souvenir photograph for your digital scrapbook and flying straight back to Couch Potatoville. Why do you do this? Because of dopamine. When you announce your grand intentions to the world, the likes and comments come rolling in. Your friends say, "Get it, bro," and "so proud of you." Your brain absorbs all that validation and releases a massive hit of fake achievement. Neurologically, your brain feels like you already did the work. So, you lose the hunger, you lose the drive, you got the trophy before you even ran the race, so why bother sweating? Stop seeking applause for the mere intention to do something great. You don't need their permission, you don't need their validation to be great, so why are you begging for their digital thumbs up before you've earned it? Talk is a tax on your focus. Every single time you open your mouth to brag about your future, you are bankrupting your present energy. It's not about seeking public validation, it's about embracing productive isolation. Which brings us to your new behavioral mandate, the power of silence. The ultimate flex of a truly effective man is building his empire in total, terrifying silence. Think of an apex predator. Think of a great white shark. It does not swim through the ocean blowing a little brass trumpet to let the seals know it is currently on its grind. It operates in the dark. It strikes without warning. It lets its actions completely dictate its presence. You need to become a ghost. You need to disappear into the work and only reappear to drop undeniable bulletproof results on the table. When your buddies ask why you aren't at the bar this weekend, you don't give them a 20-minute motivational speech about your new paradigm shift. You say one word: busy. When your mother asks what you're up to these days, you don't pitch her your unwritten screenplay. You say, working. Let the final product make all the noise. Stop acting like a celebrated prodigy for merely daydreaming. When you finally shut your mouth, your hands are finally forced to get to work. Silence is the sound of execution. When a factory is producing goods, you hear the gears grinding, the steel stamping, and the engines roaring. You do not hear the manager standing outside with a megaphone talking about how great the factory might be next year. You have a choice. You can be a loudmouth who is full of empty promises, or you can be a silent assassin who is full of undeniable proof. That's the key. Stop treating your ideas like fragile museum exhibits that need to be protected and admired. Treat them like lumps of raw clay. They are completely useless until you smash them onto the wheel, get your hands covered in mud, and fire them in the kiln of absolute grueling labor. You don't need their permission to start spinning the wheel. You just need to shut your mouth and press the pedal. You mastered the discipline of shutting your mouth and killing your ego. Now, we must hunt down the parasite living inside your own home. Chapter 3. Evict the Couch Goblin. Hijacking your ambition. Welcome to your living room, the scene of the crime, the graveyard of your ambitions. We have successfully dismantled your delusions about someday and your inflated ego regarding your brilliant ideas. Now we need to talk about the squatter currently residing between your ears. Let me introduce you to your inner parasite. I call it the Couch Goblin. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It is that tiny, pathetic little voice in your head, constantly whining in a high-pitched nasal squeal. It wears a pair of permanently stained sweatpants. Just one more scroll, it whispers. Just one more episode of that show you've already seen 4 times. Just a quick 45-minute nap before we conquer the world. This creature does not pay rent. It survives on a strict, high-calorie diet of your wasted youth and your creatively worded excuses. It is a master negotiator, and you are its favorite absolute sucker. It convinces you that reading a motivational quote on the internet counts as doing actual work. It convinces you that because you successfully sent exactly 2 emails, one of which was just typing, "Sounds good, Phil," you have now earned a grueling 3-hour video game marathon. You call it self-care. I call it self-sabotage. You have a choice. You can let this gremlin drive the bus, or you can kick it out the windshield. That's the key. Right now, you are feeding the beast until it is morbidly obese. Every time you open social media, when you should be opening a spreadsheet, you are tossing it a filet mignon. Every time you hit the snooze button and bury your face in the pillow, you are giving it a foot rub. Stop negotiating with a terrorist that lives inside your own skull. It's not about needing more motivation, it's about executing relentless discipline. You must cut off the food supply immediately, starve your distractions, feed your focus. Say it out loud until it echoes in your empty apartment. Starve your distractions. Feed your focus. Now let us examine the goblin's favorite weapon against you, the poison of comfort. You have been entirely brainwashed into believing that comfort is the ultimate goal of human existence. You think arriving at a state where nothing bothers you, nothing challenges you, and everything is soft, heavily padded, and temperature controlled is the absolute dream. Listen to me and listen well. Comfort is a slow-acting poison disguised as a warm, fluffy blanket. You are biologically wired to seek the path of least resistance. Your prehistoric brain wants you to conserve calories, avoid danger, and sit completely still in a cave, which means your own biology is actively conspiring, right this very second, to make you a total, unremarkable nobody. You live in an era where hot food is delivered to your door by a guy on a moped, and you never have to walk further than your driveway. If you listen to your body's desire for comfort, you will become a glorified house cat. You will become a soft-bellied oxygen thief whose greatest daily triumph is finding the television remote without having to physically stand up. Look at nature. A muscle that does not experience the micro tears of heavy resistance will atrophy, shrink, and become entirely useless. A blade that is never forcefully struck against the grinding whetstone becomes a sad lump of dull metal. You are absolutely no different. If you are not sweating, struggling, or stressed by a heavy load, you are regressing. You are moving backward down the hill. You have a choice. You can be the dull blade rusting in the drawer, or you can endure the brutal sparks of the grinder. That's the key. Stop romanticizing the weekend. Stop worshiping your premium mattress. You treat comfort like a well-deserved reward, but it is actually a heavily guarded prison cell. When everything in your life is easy, you become phenomenally weak. When you are weak, the marketplace of reality will absolutely crush you the moment real adversity kicks down your front door. Memorize this absolute law of nature. If you are comfortable, you are decaying. So how do we destroy this parasite? How do we neutralize this biological urge to be a lazy, unbothered puddle of a human being? Willpower? Absolutely not. Willpower is a cheap, generic brand battery that completely dies by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You cannot rely on willpower to fight the goblin. You must rely on engineering extreme friction. You must purposefully, ruthlessly, and aggressively design your environment so that your lazy habits become impossibly difficult and your productive habits become absolutely unavoidable. You need to outsmart your own profound weakness. Right now, watching television takes 0 effort. You push one little plastic button and a magical glowing screen floods your brain with cheap dopamine. Let's change the math. Unplug your television, take the power cord, wrap it up, and lock it in the trunk of your car. Put the car keys in a timed lockbox in your attic. Now, when the couch goblin whispers, "Let's watch a show," you have to put on your shoes, walk out into the freezing rain, open the trunk, carry the cord back inside, plug it in, and boot up the system. You have engineered extreme friction. 9 times out of 10, your lazy brain will look at that sequence of events and say, "Forget it, that's entirely too much work. I'll just read a book or do some push-ups instead." Make your laziness do the heavy lifting. That is how you win the game. Delete the distraction apps off your phone every single morning. If you want to check them, make yourself manually re-download them, remember your complicated password, and log in. Put a digital timer on your internet router that ruthlessly shuts off the Wi-Fi at 10 p.m. sharp. Burn the ship so you cannot retreat to the island of mediocrity. It's not about possessing superhuman willpower, it's about building an idiot-proof environment. You don't need their permission to change your surroundings. You do not need society's approval to throw your video game console into a literal dumpster. If an object is actively destroying your future, it is an enemy combatant. Treat it as such. You have a choice. You can live in a brightly colored funhouse designed for a toddler, or you can build a disciplined barracks designed for a warrior. That's the key. Stop trusting yourself. You have proven time and time again that given the opportunity to be lazy, you will take it with open arms. So, remove the opportunity. Force your own hand. Build a daily environment where failure takes significantly more physical and mental effort than success. Force your worst habits to run an obstacle course just to survive. Make your laziness do the heavy lifting. The couch goblin is officially on notice. You have locked the doors, you have cut the power to the entertainment center, you have starved the distractions, and you have secured the perimeter. You successfully evicted the parasite from your living room. Now let's address the toxic, sugar-coated sludge you've been feeding your soul since kindergarten. Chapter 4. Stop drinking the try your best Kool-Aid. Welcome back to the Dojo of Discomfort. We successfully evicted the parasite from your living room, but our work is far from over. Now, we must perform emergency surgery on your belief system. We are going to drain the toxic sugar-coated sludge you've been feeding your soul since kindergarten. Let us have a direct conversation about the most destructive lie ever whispered into the ears of young men. As long as you try your best, that is all that matters. What a spectacular, glittering pile of absolute garbage. Let us examine the participation ribbon mentality. You were raised in an era of padded playgrounds and unearned applause. You were taught that noble effort was the ultimate goal. You ran a race, you came in 8th place out of 8 runners, and some well-meaning adult handed you a shiny piece of plastic just for successfully converting oxygen into carbon dioxide. Trying your best is a pacifier handed out to losers to stop them from crying in the minivan on the way home. It is a fairy tale told to shield you from the brutal, unfeeling math of the real world. The marketplace of reality does not care about your noble effort. It only grades the final exam. Imagine you are lying on an operating table. Your heart is failing. The surgeon operates on you for 14 straight hours. He sweats through his scrubs. He misses his daughter's piano recital. He gives it a jaw-dropping 110% of his absolute soul. But, oops, he accidentally removes your healthy kidney instead of fixing your heart. Do you wake up in the afterlife and say, well, hey, the guy really tried his best? Good for him? Absolutely not. The intention does not resurrect the patient. The effort does not magically stitch the wound. It's not about displaying noble effort. It's about delivering undeniable outcomes. You have a choice. You can live in a fantasy world where your sweat buys you a gold star, or you can wake up to the unforgiving scoreboard of reality. That's the key. Stop expecting the world to applaud you for simply showing up and panting heavily. The bank does not care how hard you pedaled your bicycle to get to work. They only care if the check clears. Reality doesn't grade on a curve. Memorize that. Burn it into your brain. Reality doesn't grade on a curve. Now, we must confront the most bitter pill you will ever have to swallow. The invalidity of excuses. You are going to get defensive here. You are going to point your finger at me and say, but you don't understand. My car broke down. I got the flu. My boss is an absolute tyrant. I had a genuinely terrible week. I believe you. Your excuses might be completely, functionally true. But here is the terrifying plot twist. Excuses, no matter how emotionally valid they are still just creatively worded failures. A personal tragedy might perfectly explain why you fell behind. A flat tire on the highway is a completely valid reason for missing the meeting. But listen to my voice. A valid reason does not magically pay your rent. A tragic backstory does not build your legacy. The landlord does not accept "I was feeling incredibly sad on Tuesday" as legal tender. Sympathy is a junk food diet for the soul. When you fail and tell people your sad story, they will give you sympathy. They will pat you on the back. They will say, "Oh, you poor thing, it wasn't your fault." That sympathy tastes incredibly sweet, just like a glazed donut. But it provides zero nutritional value. If you live off sympathy, you will become an emotional diabetic, sluggish, weak, and completely dependent on the pity of others. You must adopt a mindset of terrifying absolute ownership. If it rained, you should have brought an umbrella. If the tire popped, you should have left 20 minutes earlier. It's not about seeking public pity, it's about taking absolute ownership. Reality doesn't accept a doctor's note. Stop handing in your list of grievances and expecting the universe to grant you an extension. The universe does not care. You don't need their permission to stop making excuses. You just need to look in the mirror and accept the blame. You have a choice. You can be a professional victim with a flawlessly documented list of alibis, or you can be a victor who simply gets it done. That's the key. This brings us to the ultimate psychological pivot. We must destroy your current operating system and install something vastly superior, the results-based identity. Right now, you have an effort-based identity. You measure your worth by the dramatic sweat on your brow. You go to the gym, you grunt incredibly loud, you drop the dumbbells, you complain about your sore hamstrings to anyone who will listen, and you act like a martyr holding up the sky. You equate exhaustion with success. Being tired does not make you successful, it just makes you tired. You need a brutal pivot from an effort-based identity to a results-based identity. Stop measuring the dramatic sweat on your brow and start measuring the actual bricks on the wall. Imagine you hire a contractor to build a house. You pay him $100 grand. 6 months later, you show up to the empty lot. there is no house. The contractor comes running up to you, completely drenched in sweat, panting like a dehydrated pug. He says, "Boss, you wouldn't believe how hard I worked. I dug holes, I carried wood, I fought off a swarm of angry bees. I am exhausted. Do you care? No. You look at the empty dirt and say, show me the bricks. Nobody cares how tired you are. They care if the house is built. Your family does not care about your 20-page spreadsheet of future plans. They care if there is food in the fridge and security in the home. The marketplace does not care about your hustle, it cares about your product. You have a choice. You can be the guy who talks endlessly about the grueling labor, or you can be the guy who silently hands over the keys to the finished mansion. That's the key. Stop performing your struggle for an audience. Put your head down, shut your mouth, and start laying masonry. It's not about the drama of the struggle, it's about the permanence of the structure. You don't need their permission to change how you measure your worth. Start judging yourself solely by the undeniable physical proof of your actions. Show me the bricks. Repeat it every time you feel the urge to complain about how hard you are working. Show me the bricks. You ripped off the bandage. You stopped drinking the poison of pity, and you demanded bricks instead of sweat. Now let's talk about how to produce those bricks every single day of your life. Chapter 5. Become a vending machine of undeniable results. Welcome to the summit. We have successfully burned down your fairy tales. We have completely dismantled your inflated ego. We evicted that pathetic couch goblin from your living room, and we threw your participation ribbons into the incinerator. You are now standing in the smoldering rubble of your old excuse-making identity. But clearing the land is only the first step. Now, it is time to build the skyscraper. Now, it is time to evolve from a creature of mere potential into a relentless, terrifying force of nature. Let us discuss the ultimate separator of men, the gold standard of consistency. Anyone can have a good Tuesday. Any guy can drink 3 fluorescent energy drinks, get artificially jacked out of his mind, and crush a single, magnificent workout. Anyone can write 10 pages of a business plan when the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and they just watched a highly edited motivational video on the internet. But what happens on Wednesday? What happens when the energy drink wears off? It is freezing rain outside, your dog just threw up on your favorite rug, and your bank account is looking like a tragic math error? Consistency is the ultimate separator of the elite lions from the grazing herd. You need to become so predictably, flawlessly, reliably productive that you operate like a piece of industrial machinery. Think about a vending machine. You walk up to a vending machine, you put a coin in, you press a button, and a high-tier result pops out. Every single time. Imagine if you walked up to a vending machine, put your money in, and the machine said, "You know what? I'm just not really feeling it today. My energy is kind of low. I'm dealing with some personal stuff. Come back next week." What would you do? You would kick the glass, call it a broken piece of junk, and never use it again. Yet that is exactly how you operate in your own life. You are a broken vending machine. You only deliver the goods when all the environmental conditions are absolutely perfect. That ends today. Be the vending machine of value. Memorize it. You must become the man who delivers the project on time, whether he is fired up, tragically heartbroken, or battling a medieval head cold. Your output must be entirely divorced from your circumstances. It's not about occasional brilliance, it's about relentless reliability. You have a choice. You can be a flaky amateur who only shows up when the weather is nice, or you can be an absolute professional who delivers in a hurricane. That's the key. This brings us to your next major behavioral surgery, divorcing your emotions. You need to take your fragile, tear-soaked feelings, pack them into a little cardboard box, and shove them into the darkest corner of your mental attic. Stop needing to feel motivated or inspired before you get to work. You treat your daily responsibilities like you are some fragile 19th century poet staring out a rainy window, clutching a quill pen, waiting for a magical muse to kiss your forehead. You are not a poet. You are a grown man with a job to do. But I don't feel motivated today. Who cares? Who on this spinning rock in the middle of a dark, freezing galaxy asked how you felt? Action dictates feelings. Feelings do not dictate action. You have it completely backward. You think you need to feel good to go to the gym. Wrong. You go to the gym, you lift heavy things until your arms shake, and then you feel good. You manufacture the motivation through the friction of the work. When you wait for motivation, you are outsourcing your success to a wildly unpredictable chemical reaction in your brain. Motivation is a tourist. Discipline is a local. Motivation visits when the sun is shining and the music is loud, taking selfies and having a grand old time. But it packs its bags and catches the very first flight out of town the second things get difficult. Discipline lives down the street. Discipline works the night shift. Discipline shows up in the freezing cold, puts on its hard hat, and does the heavy lifting even when your soul feels like a flat tire on a gravel road. It's not about trusting your emotions, it's about executing your obligations. You don't need their permission to move forward, and more importantly, you don't even need your own brain's permission. When the alarm clock goes off, you do not consult your feelings. You just put your feet on the floor. You have a choice. You can be a hostage to your fluctuating moods, or you can be the warden of your own actions. That's the key. Finally, let us talk about the ultimate destination. Let us talk about why we are doing all of this pain, all of this suffering, and all of this brutal accountability. We do it for the liberation of competence. Right now, you are constantly asking the world for a chance. You are submitting resumes, begging for promotions, hoping people will like you, and crossing your fingers that someone will finally look past your mediocre track record and notice your potential. That is a miserable, anxiety-filled, pathetic way to exist. You are living on your knees. When you become a vending machine of value, when your consistency is absolutely terrifying, your results become undeniable. And when your results are undeniable, you never have to beg for a seat at the table again. The world will panic and build a mahogany throne just to keep you in the room. True freedom is not found in a hammock on a beach. True freedom is knowing your daily output is so incredibly elite that the world has absolutely no choice but to respect you. Competence is the only true armor in this reality. Stop asking for permission and start commanding respect through the sheer, staggering weight of your actions. Results are the ultimate volume control on your haters. When you lay the bricks, the critics suddenly lose their voice. When you show up with the finished mansion, the people who doubted you are forced to shut their mouths and admire the architecture. It's not about arguing your worth, it's about demonstrating your absolute dominance. You don't need their permission to be great, because greatness doesn't knock politely on the door, it kicks the door completely off the hinges. You have a choice. You can be a beggar pleading for scraps of validation, or you can be a king dining on the undeniable feast of your own results. That's the key. You have built the machine. You have mastered the absolute truth of reality. You have traded the illusion of potential for the hard currency of execution. Now, the final verdict is upon us. Let's close the book, lock in the mandate, and send you out into the wild. We're at the end of the line, and the fairy tale is officially over. Let's do a rapid-fire reality check. Your someday is a myth. Your brilliant ideas are absolutely worthless until you bleed for them. The couch goblin in your brain is currently holding your future hostage, and trying your best is just a bumper sticker for second place. Reality doesn't take a doctor's note, and nobody, literally nobody, cares about the massive amount of potential simmering in your soul. They only care about the bricks you've laid. Motivation is a flaky tourist, but discipline pays the rent. So here is your final challenge. I dare you to stop talking. I dare you to go ghost on your own excuses for the next 30 days. Log off, shut your mouth, and become a vending machine of undeniable results. The world is starving for competence. Go out there, build the wall, and force reality to respect your name. Now get to work.